Hello, everybody. It is myself and Comics here with another indie interview. If you're regular, hello again. If you're new, hi, welcome. Today we have Jeremy, a co host, and we're interviewing Chris from Homebrewed Comics. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm super excited.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Thanks for hitting me up.
Okay, this is exciting already. Like I already asked one question because I couldn't hold it, and I'm pretty excited to get into this now that I've been doing some reading ahead here.
How could you? I didn't even read anything yet. It was supposed to be a surprise.
Sassy Reese, what is up, guys? What is up?
Hello, everybody. Hello, Saucy. Hello, Reese. Okay, so what are we looking at today, Chris?
So, CRIT stands for Constantly Running Into Trouble. It is a comic book that is completely based on a homebrewed D&D campaign that I created for my friends. So, It's all written at the table. I storyboard everything from recordings that I make while we play. And then I run those storyboards back and forth between the team. Once it's good to go, I just draw it. I actually taught myself how to draw so I could do this comic, and now we are on our 8th issue.
Wow. Okay, that was a pretty intense opening statement there, my friend. You taught yourself to draw.
Yeah.
So you could do this. That is consider me completely impressed. Like 100%.
It's literally amazeballs.
Yeah, that's impressive, man. So let's dig into this. We've got the Constantly Running Into Trouble, which is very clever. For some of you guys out there, CRIT is it's a short term for people that play tabletops, Dungeons and Dragons and such. When it's either a critical success or a critical fail, you roll a 20 or a 1. Just to throw that out there so you guys catch the reference. So we as we shorten it to CRIT when we're all players, this, that, because you don't want to say, a critical fail every time. So I think it's very clever. So now I'm already interested from that. Now that I know that it's built from a tabletop campaign, I'm way more interested to delve into this now. So how should we do this, guys? Should we start with the trailer or should we talk about it a little bit more? Let some people gather in and then maybe do the trailer, or we could watch the trailer more than once. How do you guys want to do this?
I'm gonna let you're the host, so you choose.
So we'll do the trailer more than once. We'll talk a little bit more right now before we press on the trailer.
Okay, good deal. So, Chris, what inspired you during your campaign that you thought this would be a good comic or a television series, whatever inspired you to bring it into that direction? What kind of hit you? What kind of gave you that this would be a good idea, inspiration?
I'm pretty sure that every game that I've ever played, we've always said this would make a fun insert whatever media you want. I've heard comic books before. I've heard animation, things like that. And really, the whole entire idea came about just because I was bored. I was sitting there, I had a drawing tablet, and I was just sketching some of the stuff from the previous session. I was just sketching it. I really had nothing else to do. And I spent the better part of 3 months just drawing this first session. Now, we hadn't played D&D in about 10 years, and I'd gotten the band back together kind of thing. And we talked about this one session for a whole month after we played. And so for work, I had a drawing tablet, and I just kind of started sketching some stuff just because we were talking about it and I was sitting there on the couch bored. And then that turned into 3 months of me trying to figure out how to do it. And then I showed, my wife at the time, the comic. Now, she read through it and handed it back and said, "That's okay," and went back to what she was doing. And that kind of lit fire under me because she's a phenomenal artist. And I felt like, I have to prove myself now. So it turned into months of me learning how to draw, bringing stuff to her and getting feedback and watching her erase my my stuff or exit out, give it back. And after a few more months, we had issue 1 completed. And it was supposed to just be something I put on. I didn't even know what Kickstarter was at the time. One of the guys in that plays said, "Hey, put it on Kickstarter and people give you money, like the whole Wayne's World, if you build it, they will come thing." Again, no idea what I was doing. Went to Kickstarter, had about 35 people that backed it. It raised roughly $750. And I was an idiot and put a goal of 1,500 because when I was doing all the research, everything said, "Oh, put 1,500 is the average goal." I'm like, okay, I don't really need that, but that'll go towards t-shirts and printing and everything else. So we didn't get the money from the Kickstarter. I was online. A friend of mine messaged me and said, "What is this Kickstarter thing? What are you doing now?" And I told him, and he's like, "Well, anything you do, you put 100% into." So he just sends me the money I need. Because I drew it, but I didn't color it because it took me forever to learn how to draw, and I wasn't trying to spend another 3 months learning how to color. So I just paid a colorist to do the book, and then with the printing. So I contacted all on Kickstarter and said, "Hey, I know you didn't pay, but you randomly decided to support something that you had never heard of before. These weren't friends or family. Like I said, I didn't promote it. I didn't have an Instagram. I didn't do anything. I didn't know what Kickstarter was. So I just sent them all a free book. And then I built a website, posted everything online. And within a couple weeks, I sold 100 copies through the website. And I thought we were done until I got messages. So when am I going to see, issue 2? And then it became a thing.
Wow. Well, that's a hell of an origin story, man. You came from probably just, I'm assuming you're a comic book fan, you probably came from just reading comics, playing D&D with your buddies. I'm not sure if you were playing actual D&D or Pathfinder. It doesn't really matter. You went from that to this would be a good comic or good YouTube shorts or whatever. And you just started drawing this stuff, taught yourself to draw. You had someone living with you, your wife, that had some talent that could help guide you, and delved into this whole world that you had no idea what you were doing head first, and then completely just gave your first comic away when it was done. I'm really impressed, man. Like, all I did was kind of just cram your whole story down into 5 seconds and repeat it. I'm a little flabbergasted is all. Like, I'm kind of taken aback. Like, that's
I'm more surprised that you had little to no promotion and you actually got half of the money from your first Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I'm kind of impressed all around, bud. We've talked to a lot of indie comic people, and this is the first time I've heard anything like this. So I'm like, okay, wow. So you kind of came from virgin territory, and you broke the bottle on the ship and just went right out to sea with no heading really, and here we are. And to me, that is impressive. So is this your first official run on Kickstarter? Like you knew what you were doing, everything is set up, and you guys have a whole series going on now? Just out of curiosity.
So this is now, I want to say I have to count. I apologize, but not with 8 issues. We got issue 1 was, my failed Kickstarter. 2 actually funded. 3 and 0 I did on Indiegogo because I didn't like jumping straight from Kickstarter issue 2 to Kickstarting issue 3. Mainly because I promised all the people that got issue 2 they'd get a free issue 3 because we triple funded. So yeah. But then the people that got issue 2 came back and bought the alternate cover for issue 3, which is kind of cool. And then we did issue 4, 5, 6. So this is my 8th Kickstarter. I've done 19 total Kickstarters because I've been helping other people now that I've spent so much time learning the ins and outs.
Okay, so you're kind of the go-to guy now too in circles. So that's That's
you make a ton of
impressive.
mistakes and you like to share them. So,
Well, yeah, and you're also learning, when you do that, you're learning so many different aspects to this. There's not just creating and then putting it out there or hiring an artist or whatever you got to do. There's a lot more behind the scenes as far as the marketing, getting it out there, getting the word out, setting everything up. So, in that aspect, you are getting a lot of experience for every different aspect you could probably run into Kickstarter or Indiegogo for that matter. What brought you back to Kickstarter?
Kickstarter has the arguably largest comic book backers, and I've looked at other platforms. I've done Indiegogo a couple times because we do have a trade paperback now. But when I'm thinking about what's good for people, how many people want to create multiple accounts if they don't have an Indiegogo, if they don't have like a Zoop or Fund My Comic. I understand there's a lot of different platforms, but Kickstarter seems to be the home of a lot of comic book readers. So it just seems like a good fit. Now I may run like a secondary campaign later on. I don't like doing that, but I've seen some people have some success there and build a following from other platforms. I just don't like feeling greedy.
Yeah. I mean, we just had a couple, I guess they were a partner, a team.
Yeah.
That they have it on Zoop. And that was the first time I've ever had any experience with that. Luckily with Bianca, and all her interviews, I'm learning all these different platforms. But to me, Zoop seems like it's a pretty decent platform to go with. A lot to consider now, even if you're thinking about doing an indie comic or anything, there's so many platforms to go to now. Kickstarter obviously is going to be the most popular one. It's been around the longest.
And I have said before that it is more accessible because it has an app available too. You just go on there, and depending on what you've been getting, that's like a For You page on the Kickstarter.
I've noticed that too, and they do that on the you go through your laptop or your PC too. They do that at the website. I've noticed is they do promote other artists, and it kind of has an algorithm to it where they find other comic books that match kind of what you're doing and then put it at the bottom of the page. And two of the other ones I've been at don't do that. When you go to someone's page, it's just their work and that's what it is, kind of navigate through that. Which I do think that's pretty cool. They do kind of help other artists and kind of piggyback off of what you're doing, especially once you hit that goal. I think they add more to it. That's pretty neat, man. That's how long have you been doing this? Just out of curiosity, let's throw a number, like the day you sat down and started sketching this on your tablet to the day that you put your first comic out. How long has this been going on for you?
So this is so we released, issue 1 was July of 2020. So we're right at, 4 years.
Oh, wow. So you've got some time in. Okay. So this is impressive. So let's get a little bit into it. I'm going to scroll down just a little because I've been on the StreamYard page. So I feel like we've been staring at the trailer icon here forever. So
do you just want to play the trailer before we scroll?
I guess we could. We could. We don't really have a format to this, so I'm open to whatever. Yeah, let's check out the trailer, guys, and then we can watch it again, towards the wrap up. Any new people pop in? Here we go, guys. 3, 2, 1.
Awesomeness. Goblin King killed me.
I gotta ask, that was amazing. The familiars, already had me. The cat with the top hat and the skull face, you know, I'm assuming modeled after the voodoo priest. That was really cool, man. I'm a cat guy, so instantly I'm like, turn your mic off because you're gonna start talking through the trailer. Turn your mic off. Turn your mic off.
For me, it was the owl. I'm like, it's an owl with a monoglass.
Oh, let's open this a little bit here. Let's read this. Chris, how do you pronounce your last name? Saloff?
Saloff.
Saloff? Oh, I was close. I was close. Homebrewed Heroes is a group of friends that wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, but instead of adventurers, they wanted to be superheroes and homebrewed their own campaign. Playing together for over 12 years, the group brings together interests around video games, comics, fantasy, science fiction, and anime. These are all wonderful things. Together, they have turned their tabletop adventure into a comic book called Crit, Constantly Running into Trouble. Oh man. Okay, I'm pretty impressed. I like the GIF animation here too. Usually these are just static pictures when we come across them, and you've got that their symbol just sort of rotating there. Is really cool. I like that.
Thank you.
What is Crit? Bianca, you want to take this one? It's a lot.
Sure. Crit, Constantly Running into Trouble, is an action-packed comic book series that follows a group of friends who unexpectedly become heroes. As they grapple with their new abilities, they confront powerful enemies threatening their city, pushing them to become heroes. Born from our homebrewed tabletop game inspired by popular fantasy role-playing games, Crit brings the group's thrilling adventures to life in comic form. Each panel captures the essence of their unpredictable and chaotic escapades. Escapades. Thank you. From epic battles against ancient evils to clashes with malevolent robots, every page is filled with danger, excitement, and humor. Our protagonists, armed with their newfound abilities, navigate a world filled with mystical beings, magical artifacts, and political intrigue. They're not our typical polished heroes. They're a merry band of misfits prone to hilarious mishaps and impulsive decisions. As they face each threat, they quickly learn that their victory is never guaranteed, and even the best laid plans can crumble in the face of chaos. Crit, when trouble finds them, mayhem ensues. One take, I'm calling it.
That was impressive.
This is how I do your voice lines, by the way.
We got your back. All right, cool. This, I gotta say, man, the art, I'm pretty impressed, man. Like,
thank you.
I gotta say, did you do it all? Like, I know you said you hired a colorist, but as far as just putting the panels and the initial pencil sketchings and then the inking, you did all that?
Yeah. So all the interior work is me. With the inking. I didn't do issue 0. That was a friend of mine. So I had told you I did that one initial comic that got shot down, and I showed it to a friend of mine, and he just redid it for me as a thank you, because I'd given him my first drawing tablet. And so issue 0 is not me, but the rest of the interior work is me. Issue 6, I did everything from inks to colors, and I decided I really can't afford to do that anymore because it took me 3,000 hours, and I'd like to put out more than one book every other year. So,
okay, yeah, and trust me, man, I get it. That's the more you can do on your own, and the less you have to outsource. Depending on the motivated kind of person you are, it's easier to get things done. You know, the less chain of bureaucracy is the best way I think could put it. You know, like the more you can put in yourself and do yourself and make sure that that's okay, the faster things are going to get done. That's
right.
There's no arguments from anybody who has to do that there. Let's see. I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm trying to dig around just for some clips of some artwork here because I'm very impressed. Oh, interior art. I found it. Man, I got to say it's unique. Like, the style itself is very unique. So that, to me, you got me impressed, man. That was the best way to open with talking to me, as far as I didn't know how to draw, and I taught myself to do this. Now I'm like, I'm not scrutinizing it, but I am looking at it like, good Lord, man, this guy came from most likely stick figures and disproportions to this. And this is impressive, man. The colors, everything's very well done, very quality. I can see why people got into this and backed this just from visuals alone. That's just the visuals. I'm gonna keep scrolling down a little bit here. Oh, okay. So standard colors. All right. You know what? Now that we're here, why don't if you don't mind, because I'm very sure our audience and myself is unfamiliar with the story. So would you like to give us a quick synopsis on what happened up until now for your newest issue that's coming out? So at least we know and we're aware.
Yeah. So, chapter 1 encompasses issues 0 through 5. And in the first chapter, it's very character driven, like any real D&D campaign is. You've got to establish who your characters are, who they're playing, and really what their motivations are as individuals before you can really start throwing a lot of stuff at them and keeping them engaged. I have the comic follow the players because it is based off of a Dungeons and Dragons game. I want who's ever reading it to really feel like they were playing the game with us. So like I said, the first 5 books are really following them through your typical dungeon crawl. They've got to go face the bad guy in a warehouse. And unlike most situations, I was playing with a lot of veteran, my guys are veterans, and I threw everything at them. And the first session, I almost, TPK'd. So that was in the book, with no scrutiny whatsoever. I almost kill the entire team, and you see it. And at the very end, we bring in Samedi, the cat. He makes a pact to bring them all back alive. That's why you get to see the kitty everywhere. And so they've been introduced now as heroes, and they're like, well, we're special, but now you've got people who are a little bit more powerful than them. Typical. I wanted everything in the very beginning to be something familiar, but something different time. So the power sets are unique. I didn't choose them. We went through, normal D&D standards. So you got your monk barbarian build. That was a guy, my buddy Terrell. I said, what kind of hero do you want to be? And he said, I want to be Eddie Murphy as All Might. And so that was fun. And he's just a stubborn All Might, pretty much. He didn't want a mask. So if you read through issue 0, I loved that one because the storyline stays the same, even though it was redrawn. But if you've played D&D, that first session, nothing stays the same moving forward because they've always changed the character around. They've moved, their stuff.
Hell, the player starts learning their character as they play too. They're not always 100% sure where their character is going to go. So it takes some time for the player themselves to find their character.
Exactly. So, yeah. Issue 0 is called Character Sheets for a reason. And at the very end, they're in their new updated costumes. And they make jokes about it, like, why did we do this? It's like, well, clearly to save face, because we don't want to get sued. Because a lot of the original drawings that I did for the characters, again, this wasn't supposed to be an ongoing series or released to the public. They looked like Ant-Man and Captain America and other things because they just wanted references for what their character may look like. So we did very tongue-in-cheek humor of making fun of them for their cheesy rip-off designs. Then after we introduce that there are bigger and better things than them out there, their employer is sending them out to essentially be like hitmen for hire, stopping crooks from stealing their stuff, investigating human trafficking things. Their employer wants to look good in the public eye because really what they want to do is market them as a product, which is superheroes. And of course, in any good D&D fashion, your players say, I don't like that idea, and they do their own thing. So as we get into issue 6 and move forward, they said F you to the employer. They bought their own coffee shop, and now they run a mobile coffee truck on wheels where when they have to go fight crime or whatever else is going on, they leave the animals in charge.
That is freaking cool. I like this. I'm already feeling the sitting around the table working this stuff out. I'm such a veteran. I've played that game since I was 12. So to me, this is really impressive. I can see how this, kind of evolves into what it is. And man, I'm really impressed. I'm going to have to dig in. I'm going to have to catch up and do some reading. It's the way I see it. The Goblin King was very smart. this is great. Like it's that you can see so many influences from things. Like you've kind of drawn inspiration from across the board. And I don't know, man. I'm just color me impressed. Color me impressed. I'm gonna keep scrolling while you guys talk, just so I'm. Oh, we're at the rewards and add-ons. I don't want to ruin that, so let's scroll back up.
The whole premise of this comic is really just a bunch of friends having fun. So I try to keep the tone of the book just like that. It takes place modern day. Every single character is a superhero version of their real life counterpart. So some of the guys hadn't role played in a while, and instead of trying to learn their characters and get into the role play of what would this character do kind of thing, I just threw them in and said, you are the superhero. What would you do? That was the premise, and it worked out very well. We got into the game quickly. Their motivations were easy because it was, what would I do in this situation?
Yeah.
So the personalities in the book really are them, and you get a lot of unique personalities throughout the book. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I would say that seems like that's part of the fun of reading through it, is getting to know the characters, and then almost as you know, when you're sitting here listening to us talk to you about it, other readers can now be like, well, now I know, now I know that these are actual people. You know what I mean? Like, at least parts of their personalities are coming through in this. So you're getting to know the players through playing this, in these extreme situations. And it's pretty cool how you did that. You sort of just threw it at them, didn't give them too much time to think, I need a reaction. Like, what would you do right now if you were a superhero? And you get to see the instinctive actions of someone, not I need to think of what a good guy would do or what a bad guy would do. I kind of like that, man. That's the best way to do this. So it's almost like it's almost like your friends are now the stars of the comics. And I think that's super cool, dude.
It's so sweet.
Yeah, it's got to be a personal feeling. Like, you've got to have personal attachments to this too. And apparently they might too at this point. So that's very cool, man. I love this perspective here too, where you get to see him opening the bag and looking inside the bag as if the camera was in there. That's that's cool, man. That's kind of Tarantino angles. I dig that stuff, man. That you don't see that in comics. And there's no guessing.
I do have an art editor.
The way you drew it, the way it was designed, the POV, there's no guessing. You see the bag up here, and you know that he has just opened the bag and looking inside. Little things like that impress the hell out of me, man. Like that.
A buddy of mine who does some of my covers for me, his name's Robert Nix. He's just phenomenal. About issue 4, I asked him, because my wife at the time had, said pretty much she didn't need to help me anymore because I had gotten the anatomy piece, and she's traditional artist, so she doesn't understand comics as much. I went to Robert and I said, hey, now that I can comfortably draw and feel like I can successfully make a comic book, would you mind giving me some feedback on my layouts, things like that? So I will give him credit. When I initially laid the page out, I just had, Caliber over the bag, pulling the gun out. And he said, why don't you flip it so he's looking in the bag? Because he does a lot of cool stuff like that with his art. And so I will give him credit. That was his idea. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do that. So we just started Googling pictures of people opening things. And finally I just got some random picture off Google, give me perspective on it. I was like, oh, okay, that actually looks really cool. So we put that in there. And all the guys, once I put that in there, they were like, oh yeah, that's a lot better than him just kneeling over a bag. I said, yep. So I gotta give Robert credit where credit is due. He's really pushed me to become a better artist every page.
And I agree with Random Dude Draws. The art is pretty crisp.
Thank you. I'm very influenced by 90s comics, if you can't tell. Image was a thing when I first got into comics, and I actually have got some work from some guys that worked on those books. Dan Kemp has done some colors for me, which is cool, getting those roots back in there.
Well, my mic was muted this whole time, and I couldn't figure out why no one was responding to my question. To me, it's little things like that. And it's cool you gave him the credit for this angle. Just for me, my eyes went right to it. I love short film. I used to want to do short films. So I think of a director's standpoint. And to me, it's going to give you an edge if you think visually like that while you're doing your comic. You think of these as moving, and I'm taking stills from this, you know what I mean, and putting it in so people understand the action or the visuals. Taking very unique angles like that, you're going to impress guys like me anyway. You're going to impress people that like to write movies or want to direct. These are very important angles because in most comics, you guys, we all get the same kind of angles. We get profiles, you know, we get straight on pictures, yada, yada, but we don't get odd angles. You know, you don't get a camera angle from behind a crowd of people and you can barely see something, which to me adds perspective. It puts the reader themselves into it from that angle, you know. And I don't know, man, I'm very impressed. And I agree with Random. I don't know if he was here. Random, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but this guy taught himself how to do this. Like, I'm assuming in months. Yeah, he said he couldn't draw, so he taught himself to draw to do the comics. So he's another art guy, and so if anything, he's probably going to be quite impressed with that too. When seeing where you went from not being able to draw to us looking at your finished product here, man, that I'm never going to stop being impressed about that. You've gained a fan just from that. This guy's reminded me of Cobra Commander a lot, and I'm loving the hell out of that. Like, that is just really cool.
I was going to say, it reminds me of Star-Lord.
A little bit, yeah, like Star-Lord, Cobra Commander-ish. I'm digging this. Like,
so his little drone only speaks in emojis, by the way.
That makes sense. I see it. It's just exclamation point. Something's wrong.
A little bit, you'll see from a previous issue where he's mad and he's got a sad face. If you scroll down, yeah. So his little drone called the Fist. It has a little taser on it. He doesn't really do a lot of combat. He's the tech guy, you know, the guy behind the computer kind of thing.
Yeah,
R2D2.
Yeah, essentially, he shows up every few books. Now we all have that one player when we're playing D&D that, you know, he has a million other things going on.
Yep.
And that's Reach. He shows up, he gives people toys, and then he takes off for a while. So
doesn't make it for a few campaigns, comes back, let's work him in, you know, let's work
exactly. What have you been doing? And he's like, well, in my downtime, I've been building all of this, and he gives everybody new suits and stuff.
Oh, that's
Boulder.
cool.
I guess I gotta play D&D someday, I guess.
Yes,
you need to play.
We need to sit down and maybe have some fun with a couple people. I've been meaning to, guys. It's just I'm busy and D&D takes up a lot of time. And he knows you're a DM. That's not no easy feat. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, man, I've created this whole year's worth of gameplay and it's going to take us 5 to get through it, you know? Right. It's just a lot. There's a lot of work to it. And when you're busy running a channel, you know. Oh, yeah. He said that fist bump pick. Lots of people have troubles drawing hands. That is facts, absolute facts right there. Yeah. Okay. So let's get. Sorry, I'm scrolling. So when I'm trying to talk and do things like that at the same time, I get a little stumbled on myself. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit here.
Were you going to say, let's get down to the nitty gritty?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's sell this mother effer. Let's get you down here. We're not at the rewards, but I'm trying to find the tiers, or is that the same thing?
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Sometimes people like to call them tiers. Sometimes it's just rewards.
Okay, so when I saw the rewards, it screwed me off a little bit, or screwed me up a little bit. I thought maybe I had skipped something. So here, these are rewards and add-ons.
Ooh.
Oh no, I was gonna say if there's a plushie for the cat, I'm sold, and I just scrolled down too far. There's a plushie for the cat. Oh god, here we go. Oh, you guys got action figures? Oh, yep. Dude. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this while I try to find the actual reward tiers for people to buy these comics themselves?
So Kickstarter changed it now that you can actually have images on your rewards on the side. Nice. So I just designed separate reward toppers on the right where it says available rewards. And this center section, I just put all the meat and potatoes there. So, you know, we've got one tier that does have a bookmark. I can't not put the Youngblood one homage on a t-shirt. I love that image.
I was gonna say, dude, it looks straight off an image.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Rob Liefeld actually retweeted that, and I wound up getting like 6 backers off of it, which was really cool.
What?
Nice.
Yeah. You can get every issue of Crit here. And one thing I haven't said So issue 0 is not a physical book. It is a free download on my website. You just go to homebrewedcomics.com. You can download it for free. It is part of the trade paperback. So if you do get the trade, it's in there. It's the only way to get it printed. It's not long. It's like 18 pages, and trying to price adjust, when you're at cons and things like that can be a pain. So I just made it a free download, and it's worked out pretty well. People come by my table at cons, they download the book when they're walking around, and they come back and pick up the issues. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I do like giving things away. The issue was done as a favor to me. I did not pay the artist. I just gave him a tablet. I found out he was drawing on his phone, and I was like, hey, you're an amazing artist on a phone. I wonder what you could do with this $600 tablet that I don't use anymore. And he lived in Australia, so I shipped him the tablet. It cost me almost $200 to ship him a tablet. And in return, he just said, hey, that issue 0 that you did, I'm going to redo it for you as a thank you. So we redid that, and I figured since it's all good karma there, why not pass that on to everybody else and give everybody a free book? So,
well, oh, my bad. I did not mean to interrupt, but I went ahead.
No, go ahead.
I threw the link to Homebrew Comics in the chat. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, it is right there. I've got it open right here. I think I might actually delve into this once the interview is over, to be honest. Go ahead. I did not mean to interrupt. I just wanted
no, you're good.
I threw that in there before it got lost.
Yeah, so you can get issues 1 through 6 in physical form on here. You can get the trade paperback on here. We have a few Semettis left that we got those 2 years ago. I got 200 of them, and I'm down to about I think 7 or 8 left. Those things sell like you would not believe. And then we do have the figure on the top tier. And one thing that is not listed on this, it's an add-on that came right as I was launching the campaign. The Young Blood homage cover is going to be printed on aluminum as well. I'm doing an aluminum cover for that. Ooh. That is an add-on you can get, and it is in the top tier. I was actually at a Heroes Con right before I launched the campaign, and I had an aluminum cover from issue 6, and it was my last one. That someone had walked by, and she was picking up all the issues, and she's like, well, what is this? And I said, oh, that's it's an aluminum cover of my issue 6, the one you have in your hand. And she said, well, I want that. I said, well, you have that book right there. She's like, well, I want the aluminum too. So she bought that. And then I was like, well, thank you. And she goes, are you going to be back here next year? I said, yes, I am. And then she said, okay, well, are you going to have aluminum covers next year? I said, yes, I am.
Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so that got put on there last minute.
Oh, that is really cool, man. I wouldn't have noticed the Young Blood. I wouldn't have been able to put my finger. I was thinking Wildcats for some reason in my head, but I wouldn't have noticed that till you said it. So to me, now I'm seeing it and I can't stop seeing it. That is very impressive, man. I noticed you said Image Comics. That was like one of the first things you said. You got into Image when they came out. Mm-hmm. I was there. We sound like we might be similar ages. I was there when that happened. Not actually there. I wouldn't be sitting here if that were the case. But I remember that happening. And to me, when they all left Marvel and then marched across the street to go tell DC they would quit Marvel and just weren't going to work for them, I was so impressed with McFarlane and Lee and Liefeld, all these guys for kind of starting their own thing. And what I've noticed is those guys really pay attention to the indie comic scene, and they really want to help people, and they're still doing it. I mean, Walking Dead is a prime example of that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he was an indie comic. He started off doing this stuff on his own, and McFarlane saw it and was like, we have to have you. Like, this is unbelievable. And from now on, they're just sort of, I mean, they're real picky, but there's always a chance one of you guys might get picked up by these guys. And I think that's really cool that you went right to that. They're a big inspiration for people like us, you know what I mean, that are into comics, want to do our own thing, but don't want to be tied down or don't have our artwork taken from us, you know what I mean, and then slapped on t-shirts and not seeing any money. This is really, really cool. Let's see, we got are these fully articulate? Like, what would you call it?
Oh yeah, he's got
16 points of articulation, I think, is the standard.
Knees, elbows, wrists, neck, shoulders. Yeah, he's fully articulated.
Oh god.
Head and shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes.
Yep, you got it.
that threw me off. All right, let's talk about this 8-inch plushie that I'm gonna want really bad. Let's see if I can't dig through here and find what tier that is attached to. You got
$75.
$75. You guys got a limit?
In the top tier, yeah, there's only 8 available. I think there's 4 left. So those actually,
wow.
the first 4 went real quick.
Well, yeah, look at it. I mean, who doesn't want that thing sitting next to their computer or sitting on their shelf? You know, like, I mean, to be honest with you, your merch is right on point. This bookmark is stunning. That's some of my favorite colors mixed together. That's okay. I'm sorry. I'm getting stuck. I'm getting stuck like a person that's just like, I want this.
How do you size your t-shirts? Are they male, female, unisex, etc.?
I do unisex. So in most of the t-shirts now, I can get them male, female. The only reason I went unisex and not distinctive like that was because having to have so many options at the end really pushes people away.
Yep.
And so if someone really did want, you know, a female shirt and that was what they wanted, they could message me and I can get it done. That's not the end of the world. I use Printful for all my stuff and they're located right here in North Carolina with me. They're very easy to work with. I've got a phone number for a rep that I talk to every once in a while about things. So I can get just about what I want done, but I try to keep everything very, very simple. If you look through, even my reward tiers, I just want it to be clean, simple, to the point, because you have about 3 to 5 minutes on Kickstarter with people, and I don't want them to spend that 5 minutes trying to figure out which color variation they want of this. And
you're getting black and you're going to like it.
Right. And if they want something else, by all means, shoot me a message. I've had people message me and say, hey, can you do this? And I will research it. And if I can, yeah, of course I will. I'll never turn somebody away for having a cool idea.
Right. Well, I mean, no. And that's contribution. You know, people usually tend to want to contribute when they're really into something, you know, or they see some potential, or maybe somebody, you know, backstage just didn't think of that. You know what I mean? And that's like, oh my gosh, that's really, really cool, man. So it also sounds like not only is this based around a very close-knit group of friends, because I know how close people can get when you play together that long. And I also know the chaos and comedy that can ensue, whether they mean for it or not, especially as a DM. You can create so many funny situations that a serious player would ruin. You know what I mean? Like, I was setting up some fun, but you know what? It made it funny that you took it way too seriously. And now we're like in this dark phase over something I was trying to make funny for you guys. So you guys have met your goal, it seems like. Let me scroll back up real quick because it's a lot of driving here. You guys met your goal a while ago, it seems like. You got 10 days to go. So now let me scroll back down to these stretches, because I'm a little curious. Like, where do your stretches start? What was your limit? Have you reached a stretch goal?
Yeah, so we unlocked the first one. And when I was actually making the stretch goals, trading cards was supposed to be second, stickers was supposed to be first, but I was half awake when I did it, and I just kept it. You know, I like trading cards sometimes more than like comic books. So I was like, all right, well, I want it. It's going to go first anyway. I'm not going to fix it.
Plus, it matches the D&D stuff, I'm pretty sure.
It does now, especially now that Magic and Dungeons and Dragons have kind of morphed together in some weird mess. But yeah, but it makes sense. And I mean, to me, I'm a sticker guy. I stick stickers all over everything. But trading cards, man, I got a whole box full of just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards from back in the day, Garbage Pail Kids. So yes, I'm a collector of sorts, and I'm guessing, yeah, there it is, the sticker pack, which you are very close to. I think you'll meet. How far do the goals go down here on the stretches?
I go up to 4,500 or 5,000.
Oh, okay, wow.
We've hit, 4,000 before, 5,000 on a campaign. I know right now the environment on Kickstarter, people are spending $10 on a carton of eggs. It's kind of tough sometimes to get in there, and I respect that. But just in the event that we do, Mr. Wizard and Friends, we've done 2 parts of it already. It is another campaign that we ran a long time ago. It is so off the rails that it's just absurd. It exists as a TV show now in Crit. And the premise of that is essentially the Greek gods have taken over Earth by inhabiting the bodies of the most famous celebrities on Earth. And this group of heroes gets summoned by Wanye Kest to become more popular than the Greek gods and save Earth. And they have to do that by building a really important social media page.
That is clever, man. That's really clever.
My first take on being a DM, and it was that campaign was just went off the rails because I didn't know how to say no to my players.
And that is it. Well, yeah. And the funny thing is that's what took some time with me too, is learning how to say no without actually telling them no. You know, like you were supposed to end up at this cave entrance so you could carry on with the mission. So whatever it is you decide to do, I'm still going to backstage put you at the entrance of that cave. It's like, no matter what, you don't know what I'm working out here. You're going to end up where I need you. You know what I mean? So we can go forward with this. Yeah, that can be a problem because players sometimes don't even know what they want half the time. And then it ends up in utter chaos. Like, what is happening? This is okay. We got the team. Let's talk about the team.
The dice is a basketball.
It's pretty funny, right? I was like, is that a big plushy 20-sider?
Yep, that is.
Christopher Michael, creator, artist,
World builder, dungeon master.
I'm assuming this is you.
Yep, that is me.
All right.
We know a dungeon master.
You know two. I'm a dungeon master as well.
After
More than 20 years of creating characters and writing stories, Christopher Michael created Crit, the universe that they live in, and the universe they live in. Well, yeah. When he decided to create Crit, he used a resource that he knew well, Dungeons and Dragons. Now, were you guys actually playing a beefed up version or a customized version of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, or were you guys using like modern? What were you guys using?
So when I started this, there was no modern or anything. I literally spent almost 500 hours building everything we were using, from mixing 5th with 3rd because you didn't have guns in.
We did the same thing. That's really cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're gonna get nerdy on some of this stuff, guys, and I'm apologizing to the chat because I'm very sure most of the people in the chat would have no idea what we're talking about when we start getting too far into this. Unless you guys have watched the Critical Role or anything like that, but even they're not explaining all that to you.
No wonder I was so confused.
They're all actors, so it's kind of like, I mean, you know, it's never like that, for the love of God. You know, we don't sit around with a $5,000 camera setup and play this stuff. Usually it's like some background sounds on YouTube and it's utter chaos for 5 hours. Let's see. Organically through the actions of players. But the problem was that there was no source books with the material he wanted to use. So he took the rules and, you just answer. I don't need to read this anymore. We just talked about it. All right, that's really cool, man. You look totally like rock star in that picture. I got to hand that to you, man. Getting that.
My previous life, I was actually signed to a record label and played Warped Tour and stuff.
What?
Yeah,
man, we're gonna have to talk more. I'm a music guy too. All right, cool. That's. He's a multi-talented facet here, guys. He's multi-talented, and I like this.
I thought you were going to say fascist, and I'm like, probably not.
No. I mean, maybe a music fascist, because if he is a musician, we all tend to be that way. But you know, that's all subjective. That's all subjective. So I'm curious. Did you do the music on the trailer? Is that your music?
No. Actually, I have a friend of mine who still records and writes and records. So I just contacted him and said, hey, you know, can you whip something up for me real quick? And he did. He's great. My buddy Sean.
Wow. Okay, so we got is it Terrell? Oh, see, I guess I got that one right off the bat. Oh, I missed Brad Haynes, creator of Caliber, writer, world builder. So I'm assuming he's like a co-creator or maybe a co-writer at this point would be the best.
Yeah, he's the one that taught me how to be a DM. So he was the forever DM, and he didn't want to be a DM anymore. He actually wanted to play. The problem was him and I could never play because he was always a DM or I was always a DM, and I wasn't as good as him. And so, you know, sometimes he'll actually run one of the campaigns so I can take a break. And he's been playing D&D since he was like 6 years old. He's also probably my worst critic when it comes to writing stories. So when it came to the world building aspect, and especially when Crit became the comic book, he said, hey, if people are going to read this, we need to make sure it makes sense. So him and Terrell are really like the two guys that help me when we're editing down the chaos from the campaign, what stays, what goes. And yeah, he's
okay. So he might
watches
be
a lot
your
of YouTube
editor.
videos of what not to do. So he listens to all the critiques. Like he told me his entire YouTube playlist is nothing but people that critique things. So that way we don't put that in our book.
Okay,
Nice.
that's smart. That's okay. So he's kind of your editor, your rein and end guy,
Yeah.
and that's people need that. You get too carried away in your own story and you become your own yes man, and everything stays. And then before you know it, you're thinking the story's flowing, you're thinking everything's going great. Your reader is like, what the F is happening here? And that's cool. So you've got I'm assuming an older guy, more experienced guy, kind of reining things in here and there. That is awesome. So you've got a whole team. Let's scroll down to Terrell. He's the creator of Boulder. So okay. So I see these people are the characters. So the creator of Caliber. I'm seeing it now. Okay, creator of Boulder, which I love that play on that name too. That's awesome. He writes the dialogue and actions of. Also, wait. You let the players or the characters themselves write their own dialogue and.
Yep. So when I go into the storyboarding and I go into the scripting, I've already listened to the recording and I've like taken out bits and pieces and put it in there, things that I want to keep. Because sometimes you'll have somebody say something that when you hear it, you're like, that has to be there. And again, once it goes into the lettering process, I'll have some people that'll say, oh, I never said that. Or, I didn't, there's no way I said that. And I can pull the recording up and say, oh, no, you did. You did. It's right there.
Nope, you did. I've got the receipts here, buddy. I've got the receipts. Yes, you said that.
And the big thing about it is having them do their dialogue, especially when we're in the very final stages, it gives every character their own unique personality because there's 5 guys in this book, and when you read a team book, you don't want to read the same character personality. You want to, be able to see the connections and see the individual people for who they are.
That's true. I think that's pretty awesome. Oh, and then we have Natalie Shaloff.
Yeah. She's my proofreader, and she does all of our photography. Anything that has to do with my marketing, she's right there helping me design stuff and taking pictures whenever I need that stuff done. She's helped out with a lot of that stuff, and she proofreads things, and she's also an artist. So she's the one, that told me my issue 0 was just okay, and mainly the reason why I started down this path.
Oh, that's so sweet. From the picture she has of herself, I was like, oh yeah, she's totally a photographer.
Yep.
It just looks so nice. Oh, so it's for the commercial photography. Is it? Actually, I have no idea what commercial photography is.
Taking pictures of commercials.
Like any marketing thing, any brand product, stuff like that. Headshots, you name it.
Headshots, no.
If your business needs it, it's considered. It all falls in that category. Yeah.
Nice.
I do have a question. So is this the wife here? Is this the
yes,
wife or sister? It would have to be. So
wife.
Okay, all right. I would definitely say not mother. And
no, not my mom.
She's holding a camera. It looks like so. She is also a photographer. I must have missed that while I was filling my coffee. My bad. Question: is these little symbols here? I don't know if you can see my mouse. This is how we roll. Tell me, you guys got some temporary tattoos of that.
Actually,
that
I actually have crit tattooed on me. I don't have that. I have the CRIT, and every now and then I'm going to get one of the faces put on my arm.
So I'm assuming she wasn't part of the campaign. Probably not a D&D.
Oh no,
player.
She does not play D&D whatsoever.
That's a rare one. I was going to say, if you got the wife playing with you, that's a rare one. That she's definitely a keeper. And then we got Lewis Thomas as the colorist, which I love the coloring with it being so, it just pops. As Random said, very crisp.
Especially the main guy, like the yellow and the reds. I'm like, oh, that looks so nice.
I would say, was that the Eddie Murphy inspired character that you're talking about? Because he was very colorful and the contrast and all that was just great. I
think
love
that's
that
what it was.
stuff. Personally, I like colorful. If you're going to be a superhero team, you know, you're always going to have the dark Raven type character, but most of them should be colorful, kind of stand out from each other. And you guys just nailed that. You nailed it.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because that suit, the very colorful suit, he hated it when I first designed it. So in this book, that's a different suit than he normally wears. Like the one right here, that's his normal suit. And when you get into the book, then the first few pages, he's throwing a hissy fit because he has to wear a different suit. And it actually kind of took place at the table where we come into this issue right on the tail of the last issue. And in the last issue, he's beat up. His suit's destroyed. More or less, that happens almost every issue. And there was this joke about, like, how many skin suits does this dude run around with, you know? And I asked Obi, who's, you know, he's the character Reach. I said, so have you designed, like, do you have more of these things for him? And he was like, oh no, we have to give him a different suit today. And so in the book, I have him in this, I called it the 70s suit, the one that I designed. And I loved it. And I sent it to him and I said, hey, for this book, you're going to be wearing this suit. And he was like, if I'm going to do it, make sure I wear the mask, because I designed it with a mask. He absolutely hates masks. Boulder wears sunglasses. That is it. It is his shtick. And so part of the storyline here in the very beginning is he is throwing this fit about wearing the suit. And the guys are like, you know, you don't have to wear the mask. You could at least wear the sunglasses. And he's like, no, if I don't do it, I'm going to do it right. And so he's that stubborn to wear the mask just because it's part of the suit.
Well, it matches. I have to wear it.
Exactly.
You know, and then bitches the whole time. Like,
oh, he does. And what's even more funny is, out of game, the more he sees this suit, he's like, oh man, I kind of like it. So I think by the end of the book, we're going to write in that he kind of likes it, and we just give him a pair of sunglasses to go with it.
That's cool, though. That's cool. That's right there, man. This is the 70s suit. I do like that because it kind of does give it a feel of an era. Like, this is an old suit that's been sitting around because the one you were wearing got destroyed and we need to make you a new one. And no, that's like real backstage superhero stuff, you know, that you don't really see that in comics where they even explain how they made their suit or anything. Like, you kind of skip right past all that and you go from they're nobody to now they're in a suit fighting bad guys. And to me, that's adding some extra flavor. That's putting just a little more salt and pepper in there and makes the character more relatable. Anybody can understand having to wear a uniform that's uncomfortable and they don't like wearing it. And they're just like, this just throwing off my whole game right now. I don't like this. I think that's a pretty cool little, what would you call that? I guess a small dynamic to throw in there is let me scroll back down to where we were. My bad. Got a little lost because I wanted, at least when we were describing the suit, to be able to see it. And then I guess we have here is the Lewis Thomas colorist, who you did tell us about. Is this somebody you knew or somebody you're familiar with, or is he somebody that was sort of sent to you, or did you find him?
So I actually found him. He had done some work for a friend of mine, a cover. And so I hit him up about doing a cover for me. And so he's done 2 covers now, one for issue 6, one for issue 7. And one day I was talking to him and I just really liked how his colors looked on his cover. And I said, you know, it has this extreme, you know, 90s feel to it. And he said, oh, well, you know, the guy who taught me how to color taught me, I guess he worked at Extreme Colors back in the day. So his mentor, you know, is from that era and knows all of that style and technique. So okay, I said, hey, like, if you're coming from that background and that's the stuff I like, how about, you know, would you mind coloring a book for me? And he had never done sequential work, so he wants to break into it. So we worked out something between us, and now, you know, he's on every page. He's awesome. We get along very, very well. He's always busy, but he's all, you know, every time we've got something going on, he sends me updates like all the time. It's actually really, really nice to have someone on board and not feel like I'm just by myself. So
So you would recommend Lewis Thomas to anybody wanting to put a comic out who wanted some basically old school pop colors like
Oh, yeah.
that are. So you would recommend Lewis Thomas? Okay, I'm gonna
100%.
write that name down. Lewis Thomas. All right. That's good because I know Random was just as impressed as I was. The drawing itself is good, but then the colors just bring everything to life. Black and white, you know what I'm talking about. It's beautiful to look at in certain formats, but it can flatten the page where everything just becomes two-dimensional as hell, and you got to kind of look through the picture to find detail and things like that. It gets a little lost with some black and white. With this color, I'm glad you decided to go in that direction because this feels like something I would have bought off the shelf at like 94, and to me, that's great. That's great. And you guys seem to be capturing all the elements of that too. That's the player. Okay, this is where I was trying to get to. These guys provide the dialogue and action, their characters through the whole role playing in our game, through their role playing in the game. Each have a passion for their characters and stories.
I can tell the guy in the middle has a great personality, or has a personality.
Oh yeah, that's Spectre.
Is he trying to Jedi mind trick us right now? Is he going, you will?
So his character casts fireball all the time.
Nice. You gotta have a spam move. A spam move.
Lightning bolt. I'm sorry.
Fireball,
it just takes me to that LARPing video from back in the day. It was like, oh, we don't do that. Okay, we do, but we don't talk about it. Oh, Comic Wellspring. I'm familiar with these guys. I've had a couple people recommend this. Okay. So this is your printing company you use.
Mm-hmm.
Comic Wellspring. All right. How's your experience been with them so far?
Very good. Yeah.
I mean, the 5-star rating.
They did my trade paperbacks for me. That was the first time I'd gone through them, was when I was doing the trade paperback, and communication was great. Fulfillment time was perfectly on time. I was very happy.
Okay. Well, damn. And you've got trade paperbacks. Are you offering that in any of your tiers, or is that just a whole separate buy?
That's an add-on, I believe. I don't have a tier for it since it's 0 through 5 is in that. I do have the back issues, but you can add a trade paperback onto whichever tier you want.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's good because I'm a big trade paperback guy. I like to collect the individual issues. B's already heard me say this 100 times. I like to collect individual, especially the number ones, but I don't like opening them. So if I can get a digital version and a physical copy, or get it in trade paperback, I'll read that trade paperback and leave all the regular issues in their wrapper. Have you discussed? You got any shops, any local shops or not local shops that you've got any deals going on with?
We had a distributor for a couple years, and they started having some issues, so I had to back out of that with them. Currently looking for a new distributor, but I do have local shops in North Carolina that are carrying it. Sailfish Comics, we just talked to them the other day about doing some like in-store events as well.
Ooh, that's cool. That's
a funny name.
Sailfish, yeah. I don't know where it came from.
that is particularly odd. Are you close to the Atlantic, or are you more inland over there?
I'm more inland.
Okay, I was gonna say it would make sense if they were like a beach walk, comic book store. That'd make a little sense, I guess. But
a beach wash comic book store would be nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would be good for the comics though. That water gets in the air out there, man.
Just put it in a Ziploc bag, you'll be fine.
So we've got the metal cover. Do you want to go over some of the tiers with us, Chris? Or are you pretty confident that people can work this stuff out on their own? I think we should go over it real quick, personally. But
I don't trust people, so let's go over it.
We can definitely go over it.
GTA.
So you can't have a Kickstarter campaign without having digital comics. I know not everybody likes to have a shelf full of paper. So you can get in on the digital edition for $3. The digital deluxe is right below that one. And the digital deluxe is $5. And that one comes with, so I have some of the character sketches. I have some of the edits that have been done to the pages. I'm going to be putting in the back of the book as a deluxe version that also goes into the deluxe printed copy, because a lot of people in the past couple of years have asked me how we get to the final like layout of the book. And so I've got some of my posts back and forth with my editor where he rips the page. He literally takes it in his phone, cuts pieces, moves them, circles them. And I want to share some of that with the readers, because that's stuff I enjoy, is seeing the how it's made. So the digital deluxe will come with that, as well as some other art that isn't in the book, some of the reference work that we've used for the characters, because when you're working via internet, you've got to share, this is what this looks like, here's the turnaround, here's all the color palettes. So I'm going to put that in there as well. And then after the digital deluxe, I think after that one's cover A. Yep. So this is done by William Russell. He does a lot of the he has a Psycho book, and he does a lot of like the Pooh Bear colors. He's quite an artist. And so he got the main cover on this one, the action cover. And so started off $8, 26 pages, full color. And then you also get the digital copy with that.
Okay.
So you get physical and digital. Because my father, when I first started doing this, I didn't have the digital included. And like my first Kickstarter, and he called me and he said, "Hey, I'm not reading your book. I don't want to open it. So if you want to send me the digital copy," I was like, "Oh, that's a good point." So I added digital to all the tiers.
Oh, your father sounds like a smart man.
Yeah,
that's how I am, man. I'll let it sit in that plastic, and if it's the only one I got, so be it. I'm gonna have to put the model building gloves on. You know what I mean? Like I don't want fingerprints on this thing. You never know, right? You don't know if this artist is gonna blow up, or this creator is gonna blow up and get published, and next thing you know, you bought their first issue. And I don't know. To me, I think ahead like that, especially when I see talent or I see something very original that is just all it takes is the right eyes getting on it, and it's gonna take off. And this is something people are really into D&D, like I think when Critical Role started doing their videos, it changed the game completely. Like now everybody wants that, everybody wants to play D&D. And I was like, well, it's, fair warning, when we sit down to play, it's not going to be that. But it will be fun nonetheless, like
it's not a Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, we're not sitting around with like 14 voice actors or anything. No, but you get what I mean. So we got the cover B. Was this inspired by anything? Because for me, my memory gets so joggled.
So Lewis did cover B, and he messaged me and said, what do you want on this cover? And I said, well, you're really good with action. Just give me your best action that you can come up with. And he did 4 different layouts, sent them out all to me, and I mixed 2 together to get this one. And it actually inspired a page, the big 2-page spread that I did, because I look at that and I'm like, wow, there's a ton of action here. I need something in this book that just pops like this. So I messaged him and I said, hey, just so you know, I'm going to be stealing some of your ideas here, because I love how much action is in this panel. And he was floored that his idea of all these little goblin bots attacking at once made it into the book. Because it did happen. I just wasn't sure how I wanted to really illustrate it. And I saw Caliber, firing 3 times and Boulder doing an uppercut. And I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing here.
It kind of just melded itself together more or less. And I got to admit, man, the goblin things, it's got a familiarity to it, but it also seems foreign and alien. So I don't know, man. This is a pretty good cover. This is very Image Comics to me. I see this and I think Image Comics, like I would buy this. That's really, really cool, man. And to me, honestly, I think that's the one I'm going to have to go with, considering my financial status right now. But still, I've already decided this is getting back for sure. So let's move down to the digital catch-up. Oh, no! We had to scroll down one more, didn't we? Okay, well, maybe I'll do this one.
Yeah, so the digital catch-up has just all the digital copies that are there. You can get issues 0 through 6, plus 7 is going to be included. And you get 8 issues of Crit for $12.
Oh, that is a steal, man. That is an absolute steal, considering you're catching up to what you got coming out to date. You will be completely caught up.
I don't think I've ever
Hell, I made you
backed a catch-up tier this big, but also this cheap.
that's where I'm kind of stumped. Like, man, these are extremely fair priced, and that's at some point we would have to cover that. And I've seen a lot of people that try to pull in so much profit off of one issue, and it's such a gamble. And I think you guys realize that too, as a person who's not familiar with you, they don't know you, they've just stumbled across this on Kickstarter. It's a gamble, throwing $35 down on one digital issue and it doesn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. You have supported an artist in a comic book for people that, need money, or, you know how the economy is right now. It's a gamble. And a lot of people aren't willing to roll the dice anymore.
I always look at it like, what would my wallet want? And I've backed quite a few Kickstarters, and if I wouldn't back at that price, then I'm not going to make it that price.
That's a good way of thinking. What would I do? Like, if I was the one approaching this, how much am I willing to pay for this? And it looks like you're not in it for profit. I mean, most people that are doing this aren't. They just want it covered and get maybe a head start on the next issue.
Right. If you're in comics, money, you're in the wrong business.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, even McFarlane will tell you that. I mean, he took him a while to get where he's at, and I'm sure these guys, when they were working for Marvel, they quit for a reason. You know what I mean? They obviously were probably making salary that a chef could make, or a sous chef could make. When it's like, they're Marvel, they should be paying you way more than this. You know what I mean? Like, you should be on a pretty good salary at this point. Or at least a contract. I'm not sure how that stuff works, to be honest. But
one would think, but yes, comics needs to be a passion first and a profit later.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You just want people, at least from your standpoint, my standpoint, anybody doing this from the beginning, you just want people to read your story. You just want people to enjoy the story. You're just trying to tell a story. And you want your artist to get paid. You know what I mean? You want your color to get paid. Other than that, as the personal creator, you're sort of like, if I make a profit, cool. If not, at least people are reading this, and at least the whole thing is covered. And to me, that's awesome. Like, that says you're doing it for the love of the media. You know what I mean? Not because you're trying to make a name for yourself or, gain a profit through some way. And to me, that's just impressive, man. It makes it very real, down to earth. And we've got the physical deluxe, which I've scrolled down here. So trying to keep the covers with the tiers that we're going over, so you get a bigger picture of what's going on here.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I have on here, by the way, like, I always have the same mentality. What do I want to buy? So when I talk about a cover and an idea for a cover, it is, what do I want? Because everything that you see, everything that you read is stuff that it all relates back to my friends and myself. I'm the comic guy. They're the anime people. They're the D&D players. So their portion is they get to see their characters come to life. My portion is, what do I want on my wall? I collect action figures, I collect comic book cards, and I collect comics. So why don't I just want to put all that on my wall and have it be mine? And so my mentality, even when we were making music, has always been, what would I want? Because if I want it and I'm passionate about it, other people will feel that and gravitate towards it.
I mean, I'd say that you're onto it there. That was great. Like, I just thoroughly enjoyed what you just told us. Let me scroll down a little bit more. We got one more cover here. Deluxe, a limited edition deluxe foil. And this is what you were telling us about earlier. Now, is this the Goblin King here?
Yes. So have you seen Labyrinth, and have you seen
Yes, holy shit, that is the Labyrinth cover.
I have not seen the Labyrinth yet,
so
but I thought this looked
anything.
Matt Weldon, who he does his own comic book through Antarctic Press. I think he's done some stuff with like Ninja Turtles. I know he's pretty well known artist. I started working with him a couple years ago, and now I just get random messages from him on Twitter because he has no other social media besides X. And I had just shot him this idea a long time ago, like, hey, I'm working on this idea for Crit. It's the next book. You've done 4 covers for me. Let me know if you're free. And he sends me a message like, just tell me the rundown of it, and I'll see if I can fit it in my schedule, because he's a super busy guy. And I gave him the whole spiel for the issue, and then I get this back in my inbox. And I was like, I'm sold.
Whoa.
Thank you.
Whoa.
he gets my stuff so well because, you know, I always describe Crit as Ninja Turtles meets Scooby-Doo meets Police Academy.
Holy shit.
Or the other guys, you know, for non-old people like myself. But he likes it. He really enjoys the story. Like he's told me, he's like, I just like doing covers for you because your story is really fun. I love the history of it. And so when I can just give somebody a rundown and this is what I get in my inbox, I was like, oh my God, yep.
Dude, that is impressive. And I was gonna say the style resembles some of IDW's run. So I'm seeing it. And I as soon as you said Labyrinth, I saw the little glyphs in the background and went, oh my God, that is the Labyrinth cover. That is really, really hilarious to me. But yet it suits the style and it kind of it roots it in that role-playing element, you know, that fantasy element, yet it's sci-fi superheroes. And I think that's freaking cool, man. Now I'm all torn. Which cover do I want?
I always do his as limited editions because Matt gives me such great work, and I know he fits me into a schedule that's already packed. And you know, he just always brings like a level of detail in there that I don't get. And sometimes I'm like looking at a piece of work he's done, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice that he put that in there. That's crazy. So,
and the style is so unique. Like, I'm loving the design of the cat. It just looks completely different than some of the other designs. He kind of made him chonky, you know, and he's got the teeth. You know, that's just really cool. Gave him a bigger chin. You know, it just kind of added a flavor. I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it a lot, to be honest. I can't stop staring at it. I should probably move on because I've been staring at this way too long. So is this foil only? Is this the only way you can get the covers foil only?
Yeah, that I only do Matt Weldon's covers on the Kickstarter. I get them foils, and if I have an extra run, I'll bring them to Kickstarter because I generally order about 10 to 15 extra just in case something happens, damage in shipping and stuff like that. Okay.
Man, that's smart. He's a smart guy, guys. This guy knows what he's doing with a 4-year experience at this point. I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed across the board. But that's what you're aiming for, I assume. And then we've got the collector tier. I'm curious, man. Run us through that one real quick, because this one seems like the best bang for the buck, to be honest.
So, yeah, the collector tier is everything in here. Okay, so you get all 4 covers. Plus, I'm doing that Matt Weldon cover we just looked at. There are 2 alternate color variations of that I had done. So you're going to get 2 mini prints of that, plus all the covers are mini prints that I always do when you do a collector's run.
Nice.
Because I like having mini posters. I'm not a big poster person because I don't have a ton of space on my wall. So,
right.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to putting stuff in the Kickstarter, I don't want to put stuff in there that just gets thrown away, but I do want to put stuff in there that I know people will enjoy. And mini posters seem to be the thing that people continually come back for. What mini posters you're going to have in this one? And those covers, just without all the, you know, the logos and everything else on them, really pop. So I wanted those to stand on their own.
How big are your mini prints?
8x10, 7x11, depending on the layout of the image that I get.
Okay, so just shy of your standard sheet of paper. So right. Yeah, you could fit multiple. You could fit the entire collection on one little strip. That's cool, man.
I have no idea what those sizes look like.
Just imagine a regular piece of paper, printer paper. Yeah. It's just a little shy of that. Yeah.
Because a comic is 6.5 by 10, so it's just a little bit bigger than a comic.
Cool. So
this is the physical catch up. So you get 1 through 6, and you also get digital 0 through 6. So you get everything that we have, and the most current issues as well. So $45 gets you 8 issues of comics in physical and digital.
Okay, so this, honestly, I'm going to retract what I said. This is the best bang for the buck because you're getting everything. You're catching up and you're up to date. You have everything digital. You don't have to open your physicals. Okay.
And then this is just the big one. I called it the metal, and just I really am now a big fan of these aluminum covers, and the printer does such a good job for such a they minimum runs 10 books, and so figures for this made. I've actually everything's made except for printing the book. Just so everybody knows, as far as what's left to be done is just finishing it up and getting it to the printer, and as long as personal stuff doesn't get in the way in the next couple weeks, we should be right on track. I got to move, so I'm hoping that doesn't throw me off course too much. But I think we only have 6 pages left to get inked, and then lettering is a day. I do all lettering myself, and that's just a fun day of me and the guys in the studio literally reading back and forth and yelling at each other about how stupid we are. But this one for $150, you get every cover. You also get the Youngblood edition in aluminum. You get the everything that's shown here, the bookmark, the t-shirt, the figure. You get all of that, as well as, like I said, the aluminum cover, all of the other 4 covers. So you'll get the PDFs of everything too, so you don't have to open them. And that one, there's only 2 left. So we had 6 of those picked up. So 2 of 8 left on that one. I had 10 figures made, but I only put 8 out there because my player, anytime I make something of one of my players, they get one of them. So, Caliber's had a statue, Boulder's had a figure. Now Bones gets a figure. Samedi is, Spectre's familiar, so he got a stuffed animal of him. I always try to give my guys back, and they seem to really enjoy getting.
I couldn't imagine something more cool than for my DM one day just to hand me a fully articulated action figure of the character I've been playing for 2 years. I would explode. Like, I'd just be like, okay, I can't handle this. Is this real? This isn't really happening. That's really cool. That's really cool, man. Like, you got to make sure the player gets a figure of their own,
Yep.
Just a quick question though. Say it's a year down the road and it seems like you're offering a different character with each campaign. Am I correct on this?
I try to. There's always something, some kind of toy. Yeah. It's like McDonald's.
How would one, if say a year down the road wants to collect all of your action figures, how would one go about that? Is that a possibility, or are these just one time only? Sorry about your luck if you miss it.
I'm trying to work on that right now because the printer I was using, they really fumbled last time to a point where it cost me 3 times the amount that I had budgeted for the figure. So the Bones figure that you see here is a new guy I'm working with, and his turnaround time is quite a lot. Like, it took me a year to get these figures because he had to print and put together every single piece. So something that's in the works is getting a small run of them done, but I'm trying to find someone who has a little bit more experience in action figures, even if I have to pay a little bit more for it. And then I want to do when I hit chapter 2, I want to be able to have the 3D prints of every single character that I have. And I may even offer just the files for people to print their own figures too, because I've had people ask me about that.
Ooh, dude, that's kind of smart. You can sell those pretty cheap, that's, or even include it in a tier later down the road. That's
right.
I'm personally into that kind of stuff. I was like, I love that they come unpainted. That gives you the chance to sit down and paint them yourself. And that, to me, I love doing that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. I just figured I'd throw that out there in case anybody was curious or nobody thought of that it's like, I get the whole point of this is it's limited, like this is kind of why you want to jump on it and get it now. But down the road, there could be people that don't even know about this that find it later. And you're like, you know what? I want the whole team, like I want it all. How can I go about doing that? I was just curious if you had a plan on that at all.
It's something that's in the works. I just have to find the 3D printers there's a lot of them. It's all about finding one that's reliable.
Yes.
Yeah. And, printing them yourself, a lot of people don't realize that you got to print each one of these parts, and then they have to be sanded down and filed to make sure they all fit together. There's a lot of work to it. It's not just print it out and go. And So that's something I couldn't imagine you even having time to do on your own too. You know, like it's just one more thing I got to do. Oh,
Exactly. God. One more thing. I thought about doing it, and I actually talked to somebody who has a 3D printing studio, and I was like, "Yeah, I think I can get into it. You know, it doesn't seem too hard." And he goes, "Well, do you have all of this space, and can you vent it, and this and that?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not. Nope, we're good. I'll
never mind. I don't want to build a whole studio just to print a figure, you know, like,
right.
You gotta got to, depending, unless you're willing to drop money on some really expensive printers, you know what I mean? Like we're talking $1,200, $2,000 printers. You're going to be doing some work, and you have to have your own little room for it. And that, so we've got the early birds, which I'm a little confused. Were these?
So
these
those are available
on,
for the first few days. It says they're I don't know why Kickstarter puts them now
yeah, it
as
says
all gone.
It's a little confusing.
That's a Kickstarter thing. So I always do an early bird, and I offer free shipping in the US on my early birds. I do like a t-shirt tier and then a standard tier. And so those go pretty quick. I don't limit them because, you know, it just helps me get funded faster.
Yeah.
But we had 4th of July weekend, so I made it for the first, I think, 4 days. You could get everything for cheap. So anybody that's, you know, backing now, next Kickstarter, if you get in sooner, you save the as far as shipping wise, you save on the US shipping. I always do it for free on the first backers.
Okay. So we've got, I guess there it is. Yeah, the two. This is the one with the shirt you were telling us about there. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's cool. It would be, I guess, yeah, we had an interview not too long ago where their what was it? Their Zoop page had changed something on them, right? And they didn't know till we were interviewing them. So they're seeing it. We're like, well, glad we could help, I guess. I'm sorry. But I noticed these guys tend to do things on their own. I'm wondering if it's an early bird setting, like it's all automatic, you know, like you set the day and the time, and then they automatically put the all gone thing on there when the time runs out. I'm not sure, but it looks like you almost got rid of all of them, like on both tiers here. You came really close.
Yeah, people if they've worked with me before, they know day one you can just get one of the early birds. You'll get free shipping. Now, if you do add-ons do have like $1 or $2 for shipping. So, but it's still cheaper. That's a way for people to, on a budget, to save money, is to be there the first few days. For me, it gives me security because we fund fast. For them, it gives them free shipping. So it's like a win-win situation.
Yeah, and also from our side, you know, the collector side, it gives you that I got it before you did. Or at least I backed it before you did. You know, I was on this, and on top of that, you know, it's something personal. You're saving some money. You're showing support, and you're not breaking the bank, and you kind of get a better deal than the people that came on later. And that's just genius. And it's like you know, you've got the deluxe special, which is exactly what you have here. You know, you scroll up a little bit more, but if you miss that early bird, it's still available for you, and I think that's really smart. I'm gonna scroll back up. For some of the people that are in here now, we're up to 8 to 10 I'm seeing, and I think we should watch the trailer again. We've talked a lot, and then maybe people get some physical context here, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, perfectly fine on me.
Perfect.
Give me 1 second real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Let me full screen this baby. This is the trailer for Crit. Homebrew Comics.
I wasn't sure if he wanted us to wait for him.
I'm curious. When he gets back, I wanted to ask him: is that his personal comic book label? Or what I don't know what you would call that, Bianca. Like, say, I want to do an indie comic. So I make up my own company.
Like,
that's
if
really all
it's
you got to do.
copyrighted?
Huh? Well,
Like,
yeah. As long as you can get it copyrighted. But I mean, that's all it takes. You know what I'm saying? Like, actually, there's ways around the copyright nowadays. There really is. There's, I know with SoundCloud, as far as music, once you put your music on SoundCloud, it copyrights it for you. So you don't have to worry about that. YouTube tends to do the same thing with YouTube Music. That's how we, like, say we throw somebody's song into our video. That's how we keep getting caught, is because they've already copyrighted their music through YouTube, which is kind of cool. That way, you know, you're making sure musicians aren't getting ripped off out there. These guys work hard. But to me, that's kind of neat. And I was curious if that's like his actual label, or did he do this just to release the comic out of, or is he looking to possibly later down the road bring in more artists and more, I don't know what you'd call that.
Labs, more collaborations.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe more brands underneath the label. Kind of take a publisher's standpoint. So I was just curious. That's something I'll ask about.
I'm back.
He's back. He's probably been listening to us.
I didn't want to interrupt. So I created, originally the idea of Homebrewed Heroes was just there because we were going to release the D&D setting to go along with the book. But then the OGL debacle kind of derailed that for a little bit. So you had mentioned Pathfinder earlier. I am in talks with Paizo about how to do that. So
okay, I was gonna say D&D, or let's say Wizards. They screwed up so bad, but we don't really want to get into that. But they screwed up so bad. They made so many people so mad. Like even Gygax was like, dude, that is not why I did this. Like, you guys are undermining everything I've done for 30 years, giving people like a platform to build their own games from and give them a free place to go. And through all that, they ended up screwing. We don't need to get into all that, but I get it. Like, so I was curious, man. I saw that and I was like, well, now that I think about it, this is something different. Like, I know when I do music, I make up my own labels because you can just do that. You know what I mean? Like, as long as it isn't an idea, you can make up your own label, record your own stuff. Next thing you know, it's kind of your own label. And I was curious, are you looking to sign on more artists later down the road? Are you wanting to make this a thing? Or are you just trying to keep it kind of home? You know, this is just my thing for my.
It's actually in the works right now. So I'm part of a group. We call ourselves a Savage Sandbox. It's just a bunch of friends that make comics and help each other out. And we're looking at the publishing side and, you know, Diamond and all that fun stuff. And so we may, because Homebrewed, I already have the LLC, and there's a bunch of. I have more background in a lot of this stuff than some of the other guys, so we're thinking about joining everybody under one banner. There's that, and then this will eventually have multiple books. I've got, like I said, Mr. Wizard and Friends is going to be its own thing after we get all the episodes done, and then there's another book called Help Wanted. I released a 6-page black and white grayscale teaser for it in a friend of mine's anthology. It's actually using Starfinder. So we finished Crit, we moved on to Starfinder, and that game is called Help Wanted. It takes place in the same universe, just 100 years in the future. And that one isn't, you know, how do I put it? So Crit is an overarching story, and the characters that you read are part of that story. Help Wanted is more of, there are big things happening in the background, but they're jumping in and out of different situations. So you get a bigger galaxy feel. They're just kind of spelunking through, taking on missions. And that's why it's called Help Wanted. They just go to the mission board and take whatever's there. And if they want to, you know, participate in an overarching piece, they can. If it's something that doesn't interest them, they do what they got paid to do, and then they leave. So
that's some world building right there, though. That's later. I already know where you're going with that. Later down the road, you're going to be able to throw other comic book heroes together and different teams into, and people familiar if they're familiar with the other. Now, where was that? Your black and white teaser?
It's in it's called Future Tales. It's by another publisher that I know, Snowy Works. Drew, he does a lot of these anthologies, and he said, "Hey, would you want to participate?" And we work together quite a bit. We're in the group together, and I said, "You know what? Like, I've been working on this idea. I'm gonna toss it in there." And so it's just 6 pages. Eventually, those 6 pages will be extended into an entire issue when I can get to it. Crit is my focus because we have 42 issues already written, and
Shit.
Woo.
I see a lot
It's
of
gonna be a
people
novel, is what he's saying. A novel.
like
We
I
got
see a
both
lot
here.
of people in indie that fall off after their 3rd book, and then I see a lot of books that launch and they never get past the first one because then they move to another title and they do a number 1 here, and then lots of number 1s and number 2s. I really want Crit to no pun intended.
Sorry, that was so mature for me to laugh.
I really want Crit to. I want everyone to experience the story because the Crit story is just so much fun. We still talk about some of the stuff that happened. We have characters that are players that miss their character. Even when we're playing a new game and we're having a lot of fun, they're like, "Man, this is fun, but I really miss my character from Crit."
I feel that.
And I have, people that have read the book and they continually ask, "What's next?" And so I don't want people to think that Crit's going to go to the sidelines. So, when I get the time to start putting the other book out, that'll happen. But it's not the priority. But it'll happen eventually because
Gotcha. Cool.
As long as I have hands, I can draw. So
you've planned ahead on
Yes.
that one. I went ahead and shared the link to the actual Homebrew Comics website there in the chat again. I figured we're getting close to wrap up, so I figured I'd throw that in there.
I forgot to say. So you gave me an idea, and what I decided to do was put the Kickstarter link and the website into the pinned comment.
Okay.
If
Well,
you
I did
click
not
on it,
see
it
that.
expands, and so you see both of the links on there.
I did not know you could do that, and that's really cool.
Me neither. I was just trying it out, and I was like, "Oh, it works! All right, cool. That's fine."
Chris,
If you have
man,
an
I gotta
iPhone
say, dude, it has
or
been an
Samsung.
absolute pleasure talking with you, man. It really has.
Thank you.
I'm glad that I don't know how you guys found each other. I'm glad you did though, because now I'm
just saw the
totally
private
into
chat.
this.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's no worries. I just figured, while we were at the website, it's very simple. There's not much, we've got the trailer there, but it's following his suit. You get what I mean? Like he likes to keep things simple. You go to the page, you go to the site, and you see what you're gonna get, and there's not too much complicated about it. But to me, this is going straight to the source. Can people buy? Oh, I see. Click back to the Kickstarter. Okay. I was curious. Can they actually make purchases through your website or contact you guys through your website?
Yeah, if you go to store, I've cleaned the store up. There used to be a bunch of T-shirts and stuff in there, and honestly, it kind of cluttered, and I've got to get in and spend some time just rebuilding my store. But if you click it, it's got the free issue 0. It's got the plushie there. There's all the books plus the trade paperback right on the store. I tried to.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So now you can buy the cat whenever you want, Jeremy.
Yeah. And this is probably the coolest damn plushie I think I've ever seen, man. Like, I don't know. I've been trying to work out, my whole thing's a dead guys. I've been trying to work out that voodoo priest, but then I thought, I can't take that. There's some people that are gonna get mad at me for doing that, So now that I see that, and it's pretty much a cat version of that, that's really cool, man. I just think that's one of the coolest things.
I love the model on the top right.
The model on the top right, reading the book.
Great book holding procedure and posture.
Okay, yeah, you guys,
Placeit.com for anybody.
If the campaign ends, they can come here and still buy these things. Am I correct?
Yes,
that's beautiful.
As soon as I get the Kickstarter done, I also do a pre-order on the website for the upcoming issue. So if you miss it, but I just realized Kickstarter started the post pledges. So I guess once the campaign ends, you can still collect until you shut it off. So that's interesting. They're listening to feedback from Indiegogo. So that's good.
Nice.
Oh, and you've got, oh no. each individual. We should have done this early. Oh no, it's a character sheet. This is so cool. Okay, well, I know what I'm going to be doing for the next hour.
Yeah, we got a wiki page too. I need to get in there and see if it's updated. The link's on there. It's got.
You guys should definitely check this webpage out. I know we stumbled on this a little too late in the stream, I think, but
that was my bad.
You guys should definitely check this out. Well, I mean, we were more concerned with, let's get that Kickstarter going. I was curious about it.
Blame me instead. Do it anyway.
So now I'm going to sit here on this website and read all the damn character sheets is what's going to happen. Like, all right.
Oh, you gave him something to do, which is probably a good thing and a bad thing.
A bad thing. Yeah. A lot of editing needs to be done. And I just found a good excuse to not do it. So that's really good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Bianca, thank you. I appreciate this one above most of them, I think, because this was right up my alley, and I'm not even sure she knew. She didn't tell me nothing about it, so I was completely
I knew nothing about it. I didn't, I was asking my brother for the thumbnail. I was like, okay, which picture should I do? This one or this one? And he was like, oh, D&D shirt. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice, but good pick there. So I'm guessing it's going to be something like that.
That was good. That was good. It was good. I like this. I thanks for coming, man. I really appreciate it. I know for sure we'd love to have you back for your next campaign. So definitely stay in touch. Multi-talented guy here. And again, this guy came from not being able to draw and wanting to do this stuff and taught himself from just to do this. And to me, that's just way more impressive than some of these other guys I've talked to. You know what? I shouldn't say those things live, but that's all I'm saying.
No, I really appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out and getting me on here. I had a blast today, so that means a lot. Thank you.
Good. I gotta thank, I believe his name is Jeffrey Haas for that.
Oh, Jeff got in touch with me? Yeah, Jeff's a great guy. He without him, I probably wouldn't get on any shows ever.
He gave me up to 5 people, and I was like, okay, let me contact him.
The person you were telling us about, Chris, the guy you collabed with that you've been talking to, that you have your little black and white teaser in.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bianca, if you're familiar with the name or if you've talked to that guy, but we should try to get him on and have a conversation with him. It seems a bit connected there.
Yeah, and my buddy Jerry's live on Kickstarter now too, and you'd like his stuff. He does anime, like a very anime manga style book, similar to Naruto and things like that.
Oh yeah, B's gonna like that. All right.
Cool. Right, we'll keep in touch about that. All right, guys, we're gonna end the stream here today. Thank you all for coming by. Take a look at the Kickstarter, see if there's anything you want, or take a look at the website if you think you're somehow going to not make the Kickstarter. But everything is going to be in the description, whether you go to the website or the Kickstarter. It's all there, and I hope you guys have a nice day. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.